I want to alert you that something's coming to our newsroom now concerning the brother of the Clinton campaign chair stepping down from a lobbying firm amid reports of some special counsel scrutiny. Tony Podesta, he's the brother of Hillary Clinton's former campaign chair. John Podesta has resigned from his lobbying firm amid reports that he's under scrutiny by special counsel Robert Mueller. We'll keep you posted on all of that. Meanwhile, reaction to these fast-paced developments concerning Paul Manafort, who will be before a judge momentarily. Getting the details on that 12-count indictment against him, Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell, Democratic strategist Michael Starr Hopkins. Welcome to both of you. Gianno, how big a deal will this prove to be, you think?
I think I'm going to echo what Judge Napolitano said, which he believed that the dominoes are beginning to fall. Honestly speaking, this whole Russia issue, you know, it was pretty much, in my view, still to the degree with the campaign, is somewhat of a nothing burger. I think that it should be investigated since there's been so much commotion about it. And what we see with Paul Manafort, it didn't have anything to do with his actual duties as chairman of the Trump campaign. This is about what he was doing in his personal life prior to ever meeting, some have said, meeting President Trump. So when it comes to that issue alone, I think that, you know, obviously there's other things that can happen with other staff members of the Trump campaign, of course. Right. In addition to that, I think they need to expand the probe. We need to find out what happened with the DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign paying us $12 million for this Russia information. You
know, whatever you make of where this is going, Michael, one of the things that Judge Napolitano had mentioned is that it doesn't end here. In other words, there will be other dominoes that fall. I think that was paraphrasing him. And it could happen on both sides here. But what do you think happens next?
I mean, I think the Manafort story is a huge story. The fact that if you go through and read the pleadings, Manafort was, in 2017, he was still laundering money while he was actually on the campaign. So I think that's a big story. But I think the bigger story is Papadopoulos. I think the fact that he was acting as a conduit between the Kremlin government and as a foreign advisor to the president, I think that's really the big story. And we can play the sleight of hands with Uranium One, all those kind of things. But, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, this is the story. The president has said for 8 or 9 months that this was a nothing burger.
It's not illegal to talk to Russians. So how's that a big story? We got to find out what exactly did he lie to the FBI about.
And and I agree with you. That's been my whole point. My whole point has been let's see what happens. But Don Jr., he lied about why he had the meeting with the Russian emissary. Paul Manafort, when he went in and changed the GOP platform for the Ukraine.
What evidence?
Don Jr. himself. He said
I'm not
initially,
aware of any evidence that
initially
suggests that.
In his statement, he said he went there to talk about adoption. Then, after the Russian emissary released the fact that they were there to talk about the Magnitsky Act, then the whole statement changed. And so my point is, you know, there's been a lot of criticisms and a lot of potshots at Mueller. I think we're finally seeing that it's time to get to the bottom of this.
But, Michael, would you hope that Mueller then also delineates and clarifies how, as FBI director, he ignored this other story that compelled someone to suddenly break a gag order to appear before Congress and testify in the matter? That's legitimate enough to raise eyebrows, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Uranium One story has been debunked for over a year. Hillary Clinton...
Well, apparently not debunked enough for a gag order to be lifted so that someone can finally talk about it. You don't want to jump the gun and assume that it's a dead issue, right? And,
you know, if new evidence comes out from this individual, then I will fully support investigation. Just like if the Tony Podesta information comes out, I think he should be prosecuted. This is the difference between me and a lot of other people that come on. I just want to find out what happens. So, I don't care whether it's Democrat, Republican. I just want to know what happens.
But you just said the Uranium One story has been debunked.
It has.
Where?
In August 2016.
They say they don't even know where the 12 million. Who okayed $12 million?
In August 2016, the Washington Post ran a story saying that Steve Bannon, through some of his other groups, had funded the Uranium One story, and that, in fact, Hillary Clinton had removed herself from the decision-making process, that it would have taken 9 secretaries to veto the program, and that the donors who had made donations to Hillary's campaign had sold the company before she did. The optics are terrible. I agree.
Let me ask this question. So, absolutely, and there's the potential to be some, you know, shady business going on here.
But if we're saying optics are bad, then, I mean,
for a speech for a bank that was promoting shares of Uranium One.
As did Tony Blair.
Guys, if we could step back for this, because there's a lot we don't know in either case of the time. But what we do know right now is that the Russians seem to be very intent on screwing around in our election process and messing around in our government, period. So I'm wondering the takeaway either of you had. Michael, let me begin with you on that, about what we should do going forward, because this will pop up again in next year's midterm campaign. I have no doubt in the next presidential campaign, because maybe this notion that the Russians were for Donald Trump and not Hillary Clinton, maybe that's wrong. Maybe the only thing they were for was messing around in our system.
And which is why I think that the Senate investigation, the congressional investigation, should be focused more towards how we make sure that in 2018 and 2020, Russians can't interfere in our elections, because this is absolutely going to happen again.
Gianno?
Yeah, I think everything has to be on the table. If there's investigations that are open, we have to follow every detail. If you had Russian dressing, we should know about it.